The preamble to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa reads, "We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffer from injustice and freedom in our land." Hello everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Ndudane. The Constitution promises to heal the division of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and the fundamental human rights. In this video, we'll examine to what extent this promise is enjoyed by public servants in general and black public servants in particular. Let's compare the treatment dished out by the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Environment to its 4 senior managers at the level of the Deputy Director General in the past 5 years. The department is the product of restructuring of the 6th administration, which took place in 2019 and was placed under Minister Barbara Creecy as the first minister of the department. The 4 DDGs can be compared based on time, space, and race, 2 of them being white and the other 2 being black, which makes this analysis easier. First, we would compare Ms. Siphokazi Ndudane and Ms. Judy Beaumont. They both served between 2016 and 2021. And secondly, we would compare Ms. Susan Claire Middleton against Dr. Fikizolo. They both succeeded the first 2, and they are still both in service. While it might be tempting to delve into the merits or demerits of the allegations leveled against these leaders, that is not the objective of this particular video, so I will not go there. Let's then start with Miss Ndudane, a black woman. She served as a Deputy Director General in the branch Fisheries Management from 2016 to 2019. In 2018, allegations of disappearance of abalone were leveled against her and 2 others. She was suspended pending investigation, which never happened, and 4 months later the suspension was lifted. A year later, when Minister Creecy took over the department, she instructed that Ms. Ndudane should be suspended again. The then Director General, Ms. Ngcaba, refused to carry out the suspension, which actually spelled the beginning of the end of her tenure as the DG of the department. Despite Ms. Ndudane having tendered her resignation, a disciplinary hearing was rushed through within the 5 days of her notice period, and she was dismissed in her absence because she was unable to attend the disciplinary hearing due to sickness. Let's then compare that to Ms. Beaumont, a white woman. She served as a Deputy Director General in the branch Oceans and Coastal Management of the department from 2017 to 2021. In 2020, allegations of racism and poor leadership were leveled against her. Despite that, Minister Creecy did not instruct that she be suspended, as she did with Ms. Ndudane earlier. Instead, she relieved the then Director General of her duties in 2021, and it would appear that the Director General was given the file of Ms. Beaumont to live with, given that no further actions were taken against Ms. Beaumont. She was spared the embarrassment of facing the disciplinary hearing and was allowed to resign without any blemish, and thereafter was able to take up a position as a director at the International Ocean Institute. What is striking is that the two senior managers served in the same department, at the same level, even better, at the same city, in the same period, but they were treated very differently. In the case of Ms. Ndudane, the objective was to dismiss her. She was not allowed to leave without blemish. In the case of Ms. Beaumont, a white lady, the objective was to spare her at all cost, and as a consequence, she was able to continue with her career after leaving the department. Whereas on the other hand, Ms. Ndudane went through months of costly and stressful litigation just to be able to earn a living, and merely because she was black.
The DA Western Cape could not wait to lay charges against Ms. Ndudane, whereas when a year later there were allegations against Ms. Beaumont, they failed to do the same. So much for fighting corruption.
The successors to these two leaders, let's look at them, whether they were treated any differently or were dealt a better hand. Ms. Middleton was appointed as a Deputy Director General of the branch Fisheries Management, replacing Ms. Ndudane in 2021, after having acted in that position since 2019. That was despite the serious allegation leveled against her in 2018 related to irregular payment in relation to Working for Fisheries program, which she authorized while acting as a DDG in 2016. These charges disappeared with the suspension of Ms. Ndudane in 2018 and her subsequent dismissal in 2019. Looks as if certain people, they leave or they are given files when they are leaving the department, especially if those files would embarrass white colleagues. At the time of her appointment, further allegation, or after her appointment, further allegations were leveled against her related to a number of different infractions, including fraud, irregular issuing of permits, and misrepresentation. All those incidents were swept under the carpet by the current DDG, Ms. Shabalala, who elected to ignore these allegations, despite all of them having been reported to her. Juxtapose that with Dr. Fikizolo, appointed as a DDG, Oceans and Coastal Management in 2022, and replacing Ms. Beaumont. This was on the back of having been previously been suspended by Ms. Beaumont unlawfully on charges that were proved to be baseless merely few days after the suspension, and it was lifted. In 2023, allegation surfaced against Dr. Fikizolo related to matters of staff appointment and other related issues. Investigation was quickly and swiftly authorized, followed by charges being preferred against him and a precautionary transfer within the department. He's still facing those charges and others that emanate out of allegations that were made during the investigation. As it turned out, the same hand was dealt to the successors in title. In the case of Miss Middleton, She was appointed despite pending serious financial allegations against her, and she is yet to face any investigation or disciplinary action on the subsequent infractions. Yet, Dr. Fikizolo is facing or faced investigation on the first asking and is going through a costly and stressful disciplinary hearing just because he's black. It cannot be a coincidence that 2 white managers have been spared and black managers face indignity and humiliation. While this assault on black colleagues was spearheaded by Minister Chrissy, she was aided and abetted by Ms. Chabalala and other black senior managers. Oppression of a black person continue to be enabled by our black brothers and sisters, as well as there was the case during the apartheid years. These are the black senior managers who sought to validate or who sought validation from the whites by selling out their fellow black senior managers. At times, they initiate these illegal attacks in order to impress the powers that be. Either way, these inconsistencies amount to discrimination and therefore the violation of the right to equality and human dignity. 30 years into democracy, we have failed to heal the divisions of the past and or establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental rights. Instead, we have established a new animal farm. Who is to blame? Be the judge. Comments are welcome, and you can also subscribe to the channel if you want. That's the end of the video. Cheerio.